In this video, we'll look at the basics of creating a bin sort question. We'll do this by creating a simple text question that asks students to sort animals into 3 classes: mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. Bin sort questions are similar to drag and drop questions. The difference is that the drop targets in a drag and drop question only accept one draggable item. With bin sort questions, you can place multiple draggable items in one sorting bin, so they're perfect for having students sort items into groups. For this demonstration, I'll create the question in a test so that we can preview it as an online test and try it out. Generally, I create my bin sort questions in a test so I can try them out as a student and then move them to a question set later if necessary. We'll start by creating a new bin sort question and adding some text to the question. The bin sort dialog box looks a little different from most other questions. You still have the tabs along the top that allow you to add rationale and other question information, but instead of a word processor window, you have a canvas where you can lay out the elements of the question. Along the bottom of the window, there is a set of buttons that allow you to insert the different components of the question. We're going to start by adding the directions for the question. A text block is inserted into the question. We can use the text options section of the properties pane to enter and format the text. I'll type the instructions for the question. Next, I'll set the font to 14 point so the text is easier to read. I'll use the resize handle at the right of the text box to expand it so the text doesn't wrap. Above the insert buttons is a palette that allows you to align elements of the question in relation to the entire canvas and in relation to one another. The first group of buttons allows you to align one or more elements on the canvas. You can align an element to the left, right, top, bottom, or center. I'm going to align the instructions to the top left of the canvas. I'll start by clicking the top align button. Then I'll click left align. If you need more space when you're working on your question, you can hide the palette by clicking the collapse button. And you can show the palette again by clicking the expand button. We've added the instructions for the question. Now let's build the actual interaction. A bin sort question is made up of draggable items and sorting bins. You link the draggable items to the bins to indicate where they belong. In our question, we're going to have specific animals that are draggable items and animal classes that are sorting bins. Let's click Add Sorting Bin to insert the first animal class. You can use the resize handle to change the size of the sorting bin. Each bin can be a different size. Let's add 2 more bins so we have 3. I'll drag the bins to roughly arrange them. Let's use the Add Text button to add the label for the mammals bin. I'm going to set the justification for this label so it's centered. Now let's add the other 2 labels and place them over the sorting bins. I'll use the options in the alignment palette to get the items arranged the way I want them. First, I'm going to align the first sorting bin with the left margin. Then I'll select the sorting bin on the right and align it to the right margin. Now that I have the two outer bins aligned to the left and right margins, I want all three elements aligned along their top edges. I'll start by selecting the three bins. To select multiple elements, click one of them and then Control or Shift click the other elements you want to select. When you have multiple items selected, the second group of buttons in the positioning palette are enabled. These buttons allow you to align elements in relation to one another. You can align left, align right, align top, and align bottom. When using these alignment buttons, the items will always be aligned with the element that is the furthest in the direction you're aligning. So if you're aligning elements to the left, they will be aligned with the element that is the furthest to the left. Let's click the Align Top button to be sure that all the sorting bins are in a straight line. I want to make sure that the middle bin is evenly spaced between the other two bins. I've aligned the other two to the extreme left and right to make this easier. The last two buttons in the alignment palette allow you to distribute items evenly, horizontally, or vertically. These are only enabled when you have three or more items selected. To get my sorting bins evenly spaced, I'm going to click Distribute Horizontally. Now I'm going to follow the same process to get the labels arranged with the bins. Now we're ready to add the draggable items. Let's click Add Draggable. In the text field, I'll type dog. I'm going to increase the font to 14 point. Under the general options, you can adjust the box size. You can select from a variety of preset dimensions, or you can enter custom dimensions. These dimensions only apply to the draggable items. For this question, I'm going to select Custom and set the dimensions to 117 by 31. I'm going to move this item a little to the left. When I select the item, notice that the trash can appears. So if you ever need to delete an item, simply select it and drag it to the trash. I'm going to go ahead and add the other draggable items. I've used the alignment buttons like I did with the sorting bins and the labels to get my draggable items the way I want them. We have all the elements added to our question. Now all we need to do is match the draggable items to the correct sorting bin. I've set up my question so that the draggable items are roughly under the correct sorting bin. By default, bin sort questions are set to automatically scramble the draggable items. That allows you to set up the question so that the draggable items and their matching bins are across from one another. If you deselect this option, be sure to arrange the draggable items and bins so that the correct matches aren't directly across from each other. To match a draggable item with a sorting bin, just drag it and drop it on the bin. I'll drag dog to mammals. When a draggable item is matched with a bin, the bin and the item will be outlined in the same color. Next, I'm going to drag cat to the reptiles bin so we can see how to fix a mistake. Cat should be matched with mammals, not reptiles. To fix an error like this, select the draggable item and then click Break Link. Now I can drag cat to the mammals bin. I've gone ahead and matched the other items with their bins, and you can see the mammals are blue, the reptiles are yellow, and the amphibians are pink. To be sure that everything is laid out the way I want it, I'll click the Preview tab. Keep in mind that this is just an image of the question. It's not an interactive preview. We'll see how to preview it in a little bit. Now that we have all the elements of the questions inserted and arranged the way we want them, Let's take a quick look at the grading options before we preview the question. Let's click the Answer and Grading tab and look at the options we have. By default, bin sort questions are automatically graded when they're given online. You do have the option to grade them manually if you want. You can also give partial credit for a bin sort question. If you select Allow Partial Credit, the number of points should be evenly divisible by the number of correct answers. The system will not award partial points. In my example, there are 8 correct answers, so if I want to allow partial credit, the point value of the question should be a multiple of 8. I'm going to select Allow Partial Credit and change the point value to 8. Now I'll click OK to save the question. If you're working on a complicated bin sort question, it's a good idea to click OK periodically to save your question. It's a good idea to preview the question as a student to make sure that it works and grades as you expect it to. Just a reminder, I built this question in a test because you can preview a test but not a question set. If I need this question in a question set, I can move it there later. Let's click the Test menu. And then click Preview Online Test. First of all, notice that the animals have been scrambled automatically. Let's drag the animals to the correct bins. Now let's click Check to be sure it grades properly. It does, so I'll click Finish. And that's a quick overview of bin sort questions. You can use the principles in this video to create everything from simple text questions like this example to complex sorting questions.